Alright, this is Work Together 4-1, and this will we'll go through this together. That way you can know how to do the application problem 4-1. You can also use the Work on Your Own 4-1 as kind of a practice, and it gives you feedback, or it tells you if it's correct or not. That way you're ready for the application problem. Okay, in Chapter 4 we're learning about chart of accounts and how to open up accounts for our ledger, which is just a group of accounts, and I'll show you what that is in just a minute. First of all, this is our chart of accounts, and we need to, for 4-1 application problem, you're going to fill out a chart of accounts. We've talked about that in the past. It's just a list of all accounts that the business uses. And so the first thing we need to fill out right up here is the name of the business. And so if you click this and get the instructions, you'll see those. Here they are. And we have a list of all the accounts. So really this is the chart of accounts, but we're going to put it in order. We're going to have some file maintenance within the chart of accounts. So we're going to have account numbers, and I'll show you that. So first thing we need to do is prepare the chart of accounts, arrange the accounts payable and accounts receivable in alphabetical order, also arrange expense accounts in alphabetical order, and we're going to use account numbers to do that. And we're going to arrange them in division. They need to be divisible by 10s, the account numbers, and I'll show you what that means. So this is all part of the file maintenance, alphabetical order, account numbers divisible by 10. So let me show you that. So first thing is to get the name of the company right here, Ross Company. So let's stick that right up here. This is Ross Company's chart of accounts. Okay, the first thing we need, there's two columns here. So first of all, this first column, we're going to put it in, these are all our balance sheet accounts. And over here on this column is our income statement accounts. We will learn all the details of that later, but we just need to know that to be able to put it here for now. So balance sheet accounts and income statement accounts. Alright, then we need to label our different accounts. And so balance sheet is basically the accounting equation. Assets equals liabilities plus owner's equity. So we're going to put all of our asset accounts first, and I'm going to put a parentheses 100 assets. Okay, so all the asset accounts are 100 in the number 100. Okay, so each account has a 3-digit number assigned to it, and they all start with a different number. Assets will start with 1. Okay, so they're in the 100s. So let's go through the assets accounts. We first have cash, which is our most used one, so we'll put that first. Before we go alphabetical, well, when we do accounts receivable, if there's multiple accounts receivable accounts, we'll put those alphabetical. If there's multiple accounts payable, we will put those alphabetical as well. If there's multiple expense accounts, we will put those in alphabetical order. But we want to put the accounts that we use most first. So that one definitely is cash. And we put the account number first, and so we're going to start with 110. We put them in digits or increments of 10, and, divisible by 10. So I'll tell you the reason for that in just a second. So we have cash 110. Our next account that we use the most is the receivable accounts, and so the first one is going to be 120. And as it says in the instructions, we have two accounts receivable. One is Tyler Link, and the second is Megan Alvarez. So we'll put those in alphabetical order, which means Megan Alvarez will go first. The next one is 130, and that one is Tyler Link. Okay, our next account is supplies, used the most. Let's put supplies next. And the last one will be prepaid insurance right there. Those are all of our asset accounts listed. So 150. Okay, the reason they're in increments of 10 is so that if we need to add an account later, like all of a sudden we're doing some different type of transaction, we need to add an account, we'll put that right in between, and we can give it a number in between those two, and we have 9 accounts to be able to fill in between if we need them, and that should be plenty. So if we had an account that needed to go in between these two, we'd label it 135 and put the account name, and we'd stick it right in the middle. Okay, so we have room to expand. So that's why we do it in increments of 10. Okay, the next thing is under assets, we're going to list the next classification in the accounting equation, which is liabilities. So, and we give it a number first, and the assets are 100s, so the liabilities will be 200s. So they are all their accounts start with 2 in the 200s range. So the first liability that we use, well, mainly the liabilities that we are going to use are accounts payable, and that's all we've learned so far. And in the instructions we have 2 accounts payable, Surer supplies and Mid-City supplies. So Mid-City supplies would be first because it comes first in the alphabet. So 210 we'll start with always, and Mid-City supplies, the next one 220, and that will be Surer supplies. So there's all of our liabilities. Next part of the accounting equation is owner's equity, and I'm sure you could guess by now what the numbers are for owner's equity. It's 300s, and we've got 2 owner's equity accounts. We've got drawing right there, and also capital. And which one do we use the most between drawing and capital? Definitely capital. So let's put that. And it's the owner's name, so Clara. Oh, what happened? Oh, I forgot the number. 310, then Clara. Capital. Next one, 320, Clara Ross drawing. So there are all of our balance sheet accounts. Assets first listed, increments of 10, their account numbers. Liabilities, 200s, increments of 10. Owner's equity, 300s, increments of 10. Next we'll come over here to the income statement accounts, and this is all of our revenues and expenses. So we're going to put revenues first, and since we use 300s over here, we're going to use 400s here. 400 revenue. And how many revenue accounts do we have? We've got 1, I believe. Yeah, sales. So our sales is going to be the only revenue account, and it's 410. Next, after revenue, is expenses, and that account, those accounts are the 500s. So revenue, then expenses. So the first one is going to be 510, of course, and our first expense. Now the expenses, as it mentioned in the instructions, we need to list them in alphabetical order, just like the receivables and payables, because we have several expenses. And so listing them in alphabetical order looks like we're going to have automobile first, we're going to have insurance second, there, miscellaneous, and then rent expense. So come back here, automobile first, 520, insurance expense, that's our only option there, and then 530, miscellaneous expense, 540, rent expense. Okay, and oh, I forgot one. Looks like, yep, supplies expense is the last one. 550 supplies. So they are all alphabetical order. They're all in increments of 10. They're account numbers, and that is our chart of accounts listed with our file maintenance as far as the numbers go, and alphabetical orders. The next section is called new accounts. So what we need to do, as I mentioned before, if we add a new account, we have space to do it in the account numbers. So going back to the instructions, we have to add postage expense and utilities expense. So we need to figure out the alphabetical order and give them a number where they go. So right here, let's put account number, and over here the account title. Account number and account title. So first of all, let's we know the account titles. They are listed right here. Postage expense, utilities expense. Postage would come first alphabetically, so let's do that one. Then utilities. Now we need to figure out where they go on the chart of accounts. So postage expense is going to go in the expenses, of course, and looks like P is in between M and R, so we will give it the number halfway in between, 535. And utilities expense is going to go at the very end after S, So if it goes at the end, we don't need to split it halfway through because there's nothing beyond supplies expense. So we can just go in increments of 10 again. So 560 is what that would be. If we stick one before automobile expense, we would just do it 500. That way we have 9 in between to work with. So that's our new accounts. If we added new accounts, those are the numbers that they would be. And the last part is opening an account. We'll do that in the next section as we open our ledger accounts, or accounts in our ledger. And so to open an account, we just need to put the account title. So the first one we would open most likely would be cash, hopefully. And the account number, as it shows right up here, is 110. So that opens the account. We'll go through that in the next section. And that's everything for 4-1. You can do the work on your own to practice, or just go straight to the application problem.